Morning, Coach. We'll get started here with Mike and then Nick.
Hey Dave, when a kicker's struggling, what can you personally do, like just you personally, do to help improve his performance or improve his consistency?
Yeah, no. Obviously, the last 3 weeks he's had some short misses there. That's unacceptable for us. He knows that. I know that. I would say at the end of the day, to your question, is really a good one. I mean, I have to do a better job with him, just working our fundamentals, our techniques, our drills. I mean, we had a good snap, a good hold. I think the operation's been really good for him. He's obviously made a bunch of longer kicks, so some of it's hard to fathom. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to get into all the techniques in detail, but at the end of the day, it comes down to just striking the ball more consistently, and we got to get him in a little bit better rhythm and make sure he's striking the ball a little bit more consistently there. I think just like any player in any times like this, you go back to fundamentals and your routine and your process, and you stay the course. He's a talented player. He's got a lot of he's got a lot of tools. He's a really talented player. He works really hard at it. It's really important to him. It's not a lack of effort and work and want to. So we'll just stay the course. I think any player in that position in this league, or most players in that position in this league, have had to fight through something. This will be a good opportunity for him to fight through a little adversity here. He's been a really consistent player for us the last handful of years. So I look forward to the opportunity to get him back on track here.
Go ahead, Nick, and then Dave.
Yeah, hi, Dave. Just kind of sticking with that, I noticed that you kind of stopped yourself. You said he's got a lot of confidence. Well, you almost said that. How do you get him to have that confidence back?
Yeah, no, I misspoke there. I don't know if he has a lot of confidence. I'm sure he does have a lot of confidence in himself, but I'm also not naive to the fact that he's struggled a little bit here the last 3 weeks, and so I'm sure that takes a toll on you. But no, I think you get it back by going out there and practicing. You develop confidence by executing in practice, and then by getting it done in the games. I mean, he's got a lot to draw on. I mean, he's had a lot of success. He's made a lot of big kicks. I mean, I think all those things give you confidence. I'm sure at some point in his career, I haven't really seen it or been a part of it, but I'm sure at some point in his career he struggled a little bit and had to fight through that, so I'm sure you could draw on those experiences as well.
Go ahead, Dave, and then Jeff.
Hey, Dave, what have you learned about Sean Bradley this year?
Yeah, Sean's done a nice job for us. He had he had 2 tackles, or he technically got credit for 2 tackles. The one guy ran out of bounds on the punt on one of them, and then he got off the block, made the tackle on that first kickoff in the game. I mean, I think he's done a great job of just continuing to develop. He came into this league obviously in a weird year, didn't get the preseason games, and for us, he was actually, him and Davion were the 2 rookie linebackers, and he started for us in the opening game on all 4 special teams units. And I would say as the season's gone on, he's just gotten better and better, and he's made more plays. He's still got a lot of room for development, improvement. I talked to him yesterday online or whatever, but I went through the game with him. He's really conscientious, and I look forward to continuing to work with him. I mean, he's a talented player. I think the future is really bright for him.
Jeff, and then Ed.
Dave, so with Jake, and then in reference to Greg Ward, it seemed like there's another punt there with Greg he should have fielded. When do the results or lack thereof actually start to outweigh, when you keep talking about potential or what someone's done for you in the past? When do they start to factor more when you're making decisions on whether these guys should still continue to play?
Yeah, I think with Jake, I mean, obviously the guy's got a pretty strong track record. I mean, this is the first blip on the radar, I would say. So I think, we're a ways away from being in that position with him. So hopefully that answers your question there. And then give me the next one.
Greg, it seemed like he didn't field another punt that should have been fielded. You got away with it, went in the end zone, but tell me what you thought he should have done there.
Yeah, I'm not sure. The one that went in the end zone, I thought was a good decision by him. You thought he should field that?
I'm asking you whether you thought so.
No, I thought that was a great decision by him. He did a great job stepping underneath the ball. He sold like he was going to catch it and didn't throw up the fair catch signal. He drew the coverage on the 2 gunners. He held those guys for a little bit. And then that ball dropped down inside the 10-yard line there, actually inside the 8. and he let that thing go and he got the touchback out of it. I thought that was a good decision there.
Go ahead, Ed, and then Paul.
Yeah, I think there was a decision, though, at the 20-yard line where he let it bounce. He didn't field it, and it bounced down to the 10-yard line. Looked like he could have caught it, but that's really not my question. But, in terms of Jalen Reagor, what goes into the decision when to use him? He had the long punt return last week, but he didn't get used this week. I mean, how do you decide on when to put him back there?
No, I hear you on the other punt. I thought he was referring to the one that was the touchback from what he said. But, I hear you. There was one that they punted from, I think they're 48. It was 4th and 1 there. We had our punt safe unit on the field. The ball bounced on the 20-yard line on the right sideline. And I would say on that one with Greg, I think, we would like to catch every ball back there deep. That being said, goal number 1 for us on that unit is to give the ball back to the offense. That entails obviously a lot of things. Number 1, if it's 4th and less than 5, you can't have a pre-snap penalty or be offsides. Number 2, you got to catch the ball back there, or you got to defend the fake. Second, next, if the ball's kicked back there, you're trying to catch it, or if you don't catch it, you got to make sure your players don't touch the football after you catch it. If you do catch it, whether it be off the ground or in the air, then you got to make sure you secure it after the catch and hold on to the ball. I think for Greg Ward back there, I think one of the things he does the best, and really truly he's the best on our football team at it, is making all those decisions back there. There's a lot to it. I think sometimes one of the things he does really well is he takes his ego out of that play. I'm sure he would like to try to go catch every single football, but if he doesn't feel comfortable catching it, then the last thing we want him to do is try to go put himself at risk of putting that ball down on the ground, especially in that part of the field, 20-yard line, 15-yard line. Turnover there is obviously points and potentially 6 points or 7. So that's that. And then your next question was, I forgot. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Just about Jalen Reagor and how do you decide when to put him back there?
Yeah, there's a lot of different things that go into that. I'd say every game's just a little bit different there. I totally get your question. I understand why you what you're looking at. I know I've told you I'm not going to go through all of it in detail, but I will say in that particular game, it was a little bit different. Some of the scenarios, I'll just go through a little bit of it. Obviously, we're in the first quarter. They punted early. Truth be told, I made a bad call personally on the return call that I went with there, and I put those guys in a little bit of a bad spot. We could have had a better play. That's on me. But we didn't have him out there for that one. And then he actually went down. He got nicked up in the game, and he went down for a period of time. I think the trainers were working on him. All I know is they come to me and say he's out for right now. And then he came back up late in that second quarter there. He came back up. And then there are some situations that we feel like Greg's just handles better, and that we try to take some of the load off of Jalen and not put every punt on him. And then what happened is we planned on getting him in the second half. We planned on getting him up there and try to get him going, but they didn't punt the ball in the second half, so we weren't able to do that.
Paul and then Les.
Dave, you were asked earlier about Sean Bradley. Obviously, you're coaching him on special teams, but I wanted to ask you about a defensive play he made Sunday when he stayed with that picked up that receiver deep on Josh Sweat's important strip sack. What does that tell you about his development?
Yeah, honestly, I can't speak on the defensive play there. I really don't know.
Okay.
Go ahead, Les, and then Martin.
Hi, Dave. Not to belabor Jake's 22-yard thing, but it looked like to me, watching it again, that he really got his foot. I'm really beyond my capabilities here, but it looked like his foot was entirely on the right side of the ball when he struck it.
Yeah.
Is that what you saw as well?
I would say you could ask him that, and he may go into more detail on that. I'm not going to go into all the detail and what I think mechanically, but in general, obviously he's not striking the ball consistently enough. I'll just say it that way, and then he can kind of answer the rest for you.
All right, thank you.
Go ahead, Martin, and then Chris.
Hey, Dave. I wanted to ask you about the onside kick that you guys recovered. I mean, obviously it seemed a lot more harrowing than it probably should have been. What's like the teaching point on that? Like, beginning with Corey and then, just diving on the ball and recovering it and everything.
Yeah, no
Thanks.
doubt. I mean, at the end of the day, we'd like it to look a little bit cleaner than that. That being said, at the end of the day, our goal on that play is to come down with the football. Those guys did a nice job with that. And that team's been out there. That hands team's been out there 3 times this year. They're 3 for 3. They're 100% on the season. We'll make we'll probably make some modifications on how we coach it and teach it just a little bit based off what we've seen out there. But I mean, I felt good with the result, obviously.
Chris and then Zach.
Hey, Dave. Speaking more about that onside kick, how difficult is it when you have like a punter like Moorhead out there to go ahead and try to like confuse you guys? And then also, do you feel that style of onside kick will become more prevalent given that it almost worked last week and it worked earlier in the year against the Cowboys?
Yeah, I would say I'm not sure. Like they had the kicker and the punter out there on the field at the same time. Truth be told, I'm not sure that having the punter out there really helped him. I mean, if you look at the film close, he was a guy who kind of circles over the top, and he kind of had a chance to maybe get in the pile. You could see some hesitation on him on that play. So I don't know if that really helped him. But I would say the onside kick, they did a great job hitting it. Lutz hit a nice ball on that, and I thought it was a really good play by them, well executed. Like I say, I mean, at the end of the play, they didn't get the ball back, so I'm sure they're sitting there on their side saying it wasn't good enough. But I would say that it's a difficult play to defend, especially how they hit it. I mean, the ball's way short of 10 yards. There's a lot of traffic up there, and I think it's definitely intriguing. I'm sure more people will look at it going forward.
We'll wrap it up here with Zach.
Hey, Dave, following up on the Jalen Reagor, Greg discussion, you said Greg's the best out there making decisions with the punt team. Is that why he's getting the returns he is? And how do you know how Jalen can handle those situations until you expose him to those situations?
Yeah, no, I think like any young player, I think there's a lot of development that goes on at that position. People, I think, take some of that for granted. I think a lot of people think it's as easy as just going back there and catching the ball. There's a lot more to it than that. Obviously, where their players are, where our players are, what return we have called, which direction the ball is kicked, the wind, where you are on the field. There's a lot that goes into it, and I think that all those guys who go back there take time to develop. And not only that, but also just catching the ball. I think if you go look back in history, I think like Hester put maybe 5 to 8 of them on the ground his rookie year. So there's some of that with those guys, but I think, like I've said before, and I definitely get your questioning and concern, and obviously the guy's the most explosive player with the ball in his hands back there, so why don't we get him back there more? But at the same time, we're trying to balance not only getting the ball in his hands, but getting the ball in his hands when he can really make an impact in the game. All returns aren't the same. For example, 4th and 1, we have our safe team on the field. Their gunners are singled up on the outside. They're punting right near midfield. The chance for a return in that situation is not necessarily great anyway. So for us, it makes sense to put Greg back there and let him handle a lot of that. That takes a lot of load off of Jalen's plate when he's got a lot of other things that are going on. I hope that kind of helps just a little bit. I mean, at the end of the day, I would say this, and I definitely get your line of questioning. We want the ball in Jalen's hands when we think he can make an impact in the game and when we can set up a play that's going to take advantage of his skill set. Unfortunately, that's not every punt. Now, every punt entails a returner back there catching the ball, but every punt return's not the same. So we try to put him in those situations where he can make the biggest impact for our football team, but also not give him all the load and stress of all the other stuff that goes along with the position, because right now he's got a lot on his plate. I think as he develops and the game slows down for him in the National Football League, I think when you come into this league, just like when you go into college for the first time coming from high school, it's like drinking out of a fire hose. I mean, everything is happening really fast. And then I think what happens is over time, the game starts to slow down for you. And so you're not thinking about so many other things, and you have more time to focus on maybe, okay, now let me think a little bit more about this punt return and catching the ball and returning the ball and the situation of the game. What's the score on the scoreboard? How aggressive do I need to be? I mean, there's just so many variables to it. So I think really What we're trying to do, or certainly what I'm trying to do, is number one, put the team first, put our team in the best situation we can to win the football game, put the individual players in the best situation they can be in to play or perform at their peak level, and then with the mindset of continuing to grow and develop those players so that obviously they can reach their full potential when the opportunity is right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep, thank you.